Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all so much for joining. Let's get started with our session. Today we will be covering the 7th chapter of Adi Lila, Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Let's offer our prayers of Mangalacharan and then we'll have it. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Śrī Caitanya-manobhishtam sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam dadati swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitam Cha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Guruve Gaura Chandrai Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishna Bhaktāya Tirpaktāya Namo Namah. Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Prema Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namaste. Mutam Karoti Vachalam Angum Langayate Guru Yat Kripatam Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Karnananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Once again, thank you so much for joining. So we are in Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta Adi Lila, and today we will be covering the last Mangalacharan verse, that is our 14th Mangalacharan verse that has been covered by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So this 14th Mangalacharan verse is covered in the 7th chapter that is entitled Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. So again, the very first verse, which is the Sanskrit verse composed by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, where he says, Agati eka gatim natva hinartha sadhakam Śrī Caitanyam likhatesya prema bhakti vadanyata. So he says, agati. Agati means jiski koi gati nahi, one who doesn't have any destination. That means the fallen souls. Agati eka gatim natva. They have only one destination. And what is that destination? agati eka gatim natva, that they offer obeisances. Hina arthika sadhakam. Hina arthika. Artha means the wealth or the interest. Those who are, after offering one minute. So they are saying Hina Arthadika Sadhakam, one who render. What they render, those who are, means Hina means they're very inferior. Hina bhavs. Artha is interest. Adhika means greater than that. And Sadhakam, who can render. So who can render their, means who are bereft of their any artha, any possession, any interest. And they offer their obeisances unto whom Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta-sārārtham prema bhakti vadanyata. And they offer their obeisances to Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And then when they natva, means when they offer their obeisances, then Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta-sārārtham prema bhakti vadanyata. Even they can advance in their spiritual life, and even they can get the mercy of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that I am that candidate. He's saying I am that candidate who is Hina Artha and who has a gati, who doesn't have any gati. I'm the most fallen. And therefore I'm taking this audacity to get the mercy to bow down to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and write about him, likhatesya, and I'm been writing about him, about Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, because he is writing this Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta. And therefore he is saying, I'm writing about that Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is prema bhakti vadanyata, who is very, very magnanimous. Vadanya. Vadanya means very, very magnanimous. Why? Because he is the one who is distributing prema bhakti to everyone far and wide without any price. Freely he is distributing this prema bhakti to everyone. So he's saying, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the ultimate goal of life, for one who are bereft of all possessions in this material world. So those who are agati, their only destination is to bow down to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And is the only meaning for one advancing in spiritual life. Only then they can advance in spiritual life. Thus, let me write about this magnanimous contribution of devotional service in love of God. So who is Prema Bhakti Vedanta? He is Mahavadannaya. Our Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is Mahavadannaya. And therefore he is saying, I'm taking this audacity to write about Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he starts with describing, because he has described the glories of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He has described the glories of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. And he has also described the glories of Śrī Advaitacharya. And now he is saying, I want to describe the glories of all the Panchatattva together. And who are these Panchatattva? Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So these are the 5 Panchatattvas and Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda and other associates of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So he says, Panchatattva avatirna Chaitanya sange Panchatattva laya karena sankirtana range These five Panchatattvas, these five incarnate with Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Panchatattva Avatirna, they also came with who? With Chaitanya Sanghe. Along with Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, they also came. Panchatattva Laya Karena Sankirtana Sanghe. And taking along this Panchatattvas, these five tattvas, these five subjects, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu did Sankirtan with great pleasure. Sankirtana Range. These five tattvas incarnate with Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus the Lord executes his Sankirtan movement with great pleasure. Now, who are these Panchatattva? Panchatattva eka vastu nahi kichu bheda rasa aswadite tabu vividha vibheda. Panchatattva eka vastu. They are one. Nahi kucha bheda. And there is no difference between these five. They all five are one. Rasa aswadite. Just to taste the mellows, have different varieties of mellows. Tabu vividha bheda. Just to taste the different varieties of mellows, they took five forms. So we saw one minute. Sorry for that interruption. So yeah, he's saying that spiritually, there is no difference between all these five. They all are absolutes. Spiritually, there is no difference. For all on the transcendental platform, everything is absolute. Yet there are also varieties in the spiritual world also. The spiritual world is full of variegatedness. And in order to taste these spiritual varieties, one should distinguish between them. One should distinguish between them. Rasa aswadite tabu vividha vibheda. That there are bheda. There is still a difference. So we saw in the previous class also, previous sessions that we covered, that how our Shri Krishna, he was with Srimati Radharani. To have taste, the one expanded into two. From Srimati Radharani came from Lord Shri Krishna, the Ananda Sarup, the bliss Sarup, the Hladini Shakti. So one became two, but then Shri Krishna developed a desire to understand the mood and devotion of Srimati Radharani. So then two became one, as Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu came, who is non-different from Krishna, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya, who is non-different from Radha and Krishna. He took the mood and the Kanti and the luster of Srimati Radharani and came as Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So one became two, two became one. And now this one became five. So this is the transcendental mathematics of the spiritual world. So Panchatattva Ekavastu, Krishna only, who expanded in five forms, just to taste the varieties, aswadite, rasa aswadite, to taste the mellows of different rasas. Now this is the 14th Mangalacharan verse. Panchatattvatakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So this is the 14th Mangalacharan verse, the last Mangalacharan verse that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami quotes. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam. These Panchatattva, they are non-different. In the previous verse, we saw that how they are one. So yes, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam. they are non-different from Krishna. उन्हीं की आत्मा है, आत्मकम कृष्णम, पंचतत्वात्मकम कृष्णम. They are 5 transcendental tattvas, but they are of Krishna only. They belong to category of Krishna only. What are those 5? Bhakta Rupa. He came, that Krishna only, he came as in the form of a devotee. So who is Bhakta Rupa? Our Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is Bhakta Rupa. Then Swarupakam, he came as Bhakta Swarupakam. Unka Swarup, his Swarup, Krishna's Swarup. So Krishna's Swarup is who? Lord Shri Balaram. Then Bhakta Avataram. In the previous session class, we saw that how Śrī Advaita-acharya is non-different from the incarnation of Lord Vishnu and Sadashiv. So Krishna only came as Bhakta Avataram. Then Bhaktakyam. Bhaktakyam means one who is known to be a devotee. That is our Shri Narad Muni, who came as Shivas Pandit, Shivas Thakur. Namami, I bow down to Bhakta Shaktikam, and that Krishna also came with his energy. Now, energy and energetic are non-different. He came with his energy, that is Srimati Radharani, who came as Gadadhar Pandit. So they are all 5. They are 5, but they all are one. They are the form of Lord Shri Krishna only. One is Krishna himself, one is Krishna's Swarup, one is Krishna's avatar, one is Krishna's Shakti, and another is Krishna's devotee. So they all are together. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is non-different from his feature as a devotee incarnation, devotee manifestation, pure devotee and devotional energy. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam. Now, Srila Kaviraj Goswami will be expanding and telling that who are all these 5. So first he is telling about Bhakta Rupa. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Ekala Ishvara Advitya Nandatmaja Rasika Shekhara. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan Shri Krishna is Ekala Ishvara. Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Advitya, he is one without a second. He is Nandatmanaja. He is the son he is Krishna who appeared as the son of Nand Maharaj, Rasika Shekhara, and he is the enjoyer of all the mellows. So Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, the Supreme Controller. No one is greater than or equal to Shri Krishna. He is Advitya, yet he appears as the son of Nand Maharaj. Shri Krishna avatirna Shri Krishna Caitanya Sei parikara grana sanga sabadhanya. That Shri Krishna, who is the son of Nand Maharaj, who is Rasika Shekhara, who is Advitya, he came, self-same Krishna came as Shri Krishna Caitanya. He came as Shri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And does he came all by himself? No. Sai parikara gana. He came with his gana, with all his associates, Sangha Sabadhanya, who are equally glorious. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jiva Daya Kuru. Sai Parshada, along with his all Parshada, he came to glorify this entire world. They all are glorious. Continuing. Krishna Madhurera eka adbhuta swabhava apane aswadite Krishna kare bhakta bhava. Krishna Madhurya eka. Krishna is so wonderful. He is adbhuta, and he came, the transcendental mellow of conjugal love of Krishna. Krishna Madhurya, the supreme pleasure potency of Krishna, is so wonderful that Krishna himself wants to understand the mood of a devotee. And therefore, he accepts the form of a devotee and tastes it fully. आपने आस्वादिते कृष्ण करे भक्त भाव. And he came and as a devotee to experience the mood and emotion of his devotee. इथे भक्त भावे धरे चैतन्य गोसाई भक्त स्वरूप तारा नित्यानंद भाई. So he came, that Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu came as Bhakta Bhav, as Bhakta Roop, to experience the ecstasy of a devotee. For this reason, Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the supreme teacher, accepts the form of a devotee. He is not different from Krishna, but he came to accept the form of a devotee. And then also his Swarupa, Lord Balaram, came as Nityananda Bhai and accepts the Lord Nityananda as his elder brother. So who is Swarupa? Swarupa is our Nityananda Ram. Rupa is our Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Now Bhakta Avatara. Bhakta Avatara Tara Acharya Gosai 18 Tattva Sabhe Prabhu Kari Gai. Shri Advaitacharya is Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation as devotee. Therefore, these three tattvas, 18 Tattva Sabhe, Prabhu Kari Gai, they are the predominators, they are the masters. Who? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaitacharya. But out of these three, Eka Mahaprabhu Ara Prabhu Dui Jana Dui Prabhu Seve Mahaprabhu Racharana. Out of these three, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaitacharya, only one is Mahaprabhu. And that Mahaprabhu is Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Other two, Nityananda Prabhu and Advaitacharya, they are Dui Prabhu Seve Mahaprabhu Charana. They are only there to serve the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Now, Bhakta Shaktikam and Bhaktakhyam he is describing. Eitina Tattva Sarva Radhya Karimani Chaturtha E Bhakta Tattva Aradhaka Jani. These three predominators, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaitacharya Prabhu, Sarva Aradhya Karimani, they are worshipable by all the living entities. Chaturtha, and the fourth principle in which Lord Shri Krishna himself expands to is Bhakta Tattva, that is Shri Gadadhar Pandit, is to be understood as their worshipper, Aradhaka Jani. He is also worshipping the same Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, just like two other Prabhus. So who is Bhakta Shaktikam is our Gadadhar Pandit. And who is Bhakta Akhyam? Akhyam means which is known to be a Bhakta. Shiva Sadi Yata Koti Koti Bhakta Gana Shuddha Bhakta Tattva Madhya Tanasa Bharagana. There are innumerable pure devotees of the Lord, which are headed by Shiva's Thakur, who are known as unalloyed devotees. Shiva's Adi. Along with Shivas, there are Koti Bhakti Gana, there are so many. But that known as to be devotee, that Shuddha Bhakta, among all those is our Shiva's Thakur. So this is how he completes the Panchatattva, describing the Panchatattva. But he continues. Gadadhar Panditadi Prabhura Shakti Avatara Antaranga Bhakta Kari Ganana Yahara. So that Gadadhar Pandit, the devotees headed by Shri Gadadhar Pandit are to be considered the incarnations of the internal potency of the Lord. They are Shakti Tattva, Bhakta Shakti. They are the confidential devotees. They are Antaranga Bhaktas, which are also engaged in serving the Supreme Lord, that is Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says about the internal devotees of the Lord. Ja sabalaya prabhura nitya vihara, ja sabalaya prabhura kirtana prachara, ja sabalaya karena prema asuvadana, ja sabalaya dana kare prema dhana. Prabhu, he took all his devotees. The internal potencies or the devotees are all the eternal associates in the pastimes of the Lord. He does Nitya Vihar. He performs all his pastimes and taking along with all his confidential devotees. Then taking along with all his confidential devotees, what he does, he did Sankirtana, Kirtana Prachar. He propounded this Sankirtan movement. Taking all his internal associates, what he did, Prema Asvadana. He tasted the mellow of conjugal love. And taking all his dear devotees, what he did Ki Prema Dhana. He distribute this love of Godhead to everyone, to all the people in general. So yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very, very magnanimous. Nityananda Prabhu is more magnanimous. Advaita Acharya is more magnanimous. But the most magnanimous is our Panchatattva together. Say Panchatattva mili Prithvi Ashiya Purve Prema Bhandarera Mudra Ughadiya Panchamili Lute Prema Kare Aswadana Jata Jata Pai Trishna Bade Anukshana. These 5 Panchatattvas, when they met together, they are combined together and they descend Prithvi Ashiya. And when they descend to this Prithvi Lok, this material world, Purva Prema Bhandarera Mudra Ughadiya. What they did is the storehouse of Krishna Prem, the treasure box which was storing this Krishna Prem, was previously closed. But as soon as these Panchatattva, they came together and they came to this material world, Prema Bhandarara, that treasure box, Mudra Ughadiya, they opened the seal. Mudra refers to the seal. So it was locked, that treasure of Prema Bhakti. But when they came, they opened this treasure house. They broke the seal of this treasure house, of which was carrying Krishna Prema. Panchamili Lute Prema, Kare Aswadan. And all these 5 together, and they mixed together, what they did, they Lute Prema, they were plundering this store box because it was carrying Krishna Prema. And Kare Aswadan, and they were tasting this Krishna Prema. But they were not only tasting, they were also distributing freely. Jata Jata Piye, and more they were peeing, they were drinking, more they were drinking this Krishna Prem, Trishna Bade Anukshana, the more they were getting thirst for this Krishna Prem. That was the magnanimity of Śrī Panchatattva. So they first of all broke the seal of the treasure house of Krishna Prem, and they were tasting this Krishna Prem, and more they were drinking this Krishna Prem, the more they were hankering, they were getting thirsty to get more and more of Krishna Prem. That was their condition. The characteristics of Krishna are understood to be a storehouse of transcendental love. Although that storehouse of love certainly came with Krishna when he was present, but it was sealed at that time. Purve Prema Bhandarera, that previously it came with Krishna, but it was sealed. Not everyone was getting access to. But when Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu came with his associates of Panchatattva, they broke this seal and they plundered the storehouse. And not only plundered, they taste the transcendental mellow of Krishna, the love of Krishna. And the more they taste it, the more their thirst for it grew. And Puna Puna Piyaiya Jahaya Mahamata Nache Kande Hase Gaye Yache Madamata. And then the more they were drinking, the more they were getting thirst to get more and more. And more they are drinking. So this was a constant thing that was going on. And Puna Puna Piya. And they are drinking again and again and getting higher Mahamatta. And they were losing their, means they were Mahamatta. They were getting maddened with that Krishna love. And in that madness, what they were doing? Nache, sometimes they will dance. Khande, sometimes they would cry. Hase, sometimes they would laugh. Gai, sometimes they would sing. Yache Mada Matta. And they were intoxicated by Krishna praying. And they distributed this love of Godhead far and wide to everybody without even considering who is eligible, who is not eligible to get this Krishna Bhakti, but they were distributing it freely. Patra patra vichar nahi sthana sthana, jai jaha paya tara kare premadana. They were not considering which person is eligible, which person is not eligible. Vichara nahi, they were not considering this. Nahi sthana sthana. They were not even seeing that which place is favorable to distribute Krishna Prem and which place is not favorable to distribute Krishna's Prem. No, they were simply distributing. Jai jaha paya, jaha, wherever they were going, they made no conditions. Wherever they got opportunity, tahe kare prem dan. They were distributing this premadan. They were distributing this love of Godhead far and wide to each and every one of the devotees. They were not even considering, there were no conditions at all. Then Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, Lutiya khaiya diya bhandare ujade, Ashcharya bhandara prema shata guna bade. So yes, they were plundering it, Lutiya, they were plundering this storehouse. Khaya, they were eating it. Diya, they were distributing it to everybody. Now, if you see the material, if any storehouse is there, if you start distributing it, one day it will become empty because it's a material storehouse. But this storehouse is carrying Krishna Prem. So that's the wonderful thing. That's the Ashcharya Bhandara. That's a very, very incredible storehouse. That the more they were distributing this Prema Bhakti, Prema Shata Guna Bade. It was increasing hundreds and hundreds of times. This Prema Bhakti was increasing. So they opened it for every public in general to come and everybody can plunder this storehouse. And the more they were plundering, the more they were themselves relishing, the more they were distributing, the supply was increasing hundreds and hundreds of times. And in that distribution, this was swelling in all directions. All the young men, old people, women, children, everybody was immersed in this inundation of Krishna Prem. And therefore he says, Jagatadu Bila Jivera Haila Bija Nasha Taha Deki Pancha Janera Parama Ulasa. And the five members of the Panchatattva, when they saw the entire world drowned in love of God, whether one is old, whether one is young, whether one is a gentleman or one is a rogue, or one is blind or one is invalid, Patra, he was not saying somebody is Sajana, somebody is Durjana. They were simply distributing. And when they saw that the entire world is drowned in love of Godhead, and the seed of material enjoyment that is there in the living entities is completely destroyed. When Jivera Haila Bijanash, when they saw that the materialistic propensities which are there in the seed form, in the heart of all the devotees is getting destroyed after getting this Krishna Prem, then all these Panchatattva, Pancha Janera Parama Ullas, they all became very happy because that was the purpose they came for. They want to inundate everybody in Krishna Prem. Nobody should be left. So, of course, the seed of the material enjoyment is there in the heart of everybody. And the more we water it, the more it fructifies to become a tree. But this tree is not the spiritual tree. This tree is the tree of material entanglement. Because more we nurture it, more it will become strong and more we will become entangled in our material enjoyment and in this world. But here, the seeds that were there in the heart of the devotees, they became inactive. Why? Because now they got Krishna Prem. The flood of Krishna Prem came. So in the material world also we see that when the farmers, they sow the seed, and in the right time, if the rain doesn't come, or some excessive rain comes, then the seeds are also carried away. They are also spoiled, they are destroyed. So yes, material people, they have the seeds of material enjoyment, and they were trying to nurture it so that it can grow into a big tree. But before that, these Panchatattva came and they flooded the entire world. And with what happened? All the seeds that were there in the heart of the devotees as material enjoyment, it was completely destroyed. Thus, more the Krishna conscious movement spreads, the more the desire for material enjoyment decreases. Yata yata prema vrishti kare pancha jane tata tata bade jala vyape tribhuvane. The more the five members of Panchatattva causes this rain of love of Godhead to fall, the more the inundation increases, the more the seeds are destroyed and it is spreaded all over the world. So this is the magnanimity of Panchatattva. Now everybody, whether they were fruitive workers, they were blasphemers, they were non-devotees, they were the lowest among the student community who are very expert in avoiding Krishna conscious movement. They were the one who were not inundated by this rain of Krishna consciousness. So who were not drowned? Those who were impersonalists, those who were the blasphemers, those who were the non-devotees, they were the one who very expertly, they avoided to get drenched in this rain of love of Godhead. And therefore, they started to flee away. When rain comes, we try to avoid getting wet. But this is the transcendental rain. This rain is the rain of prema bhakti that is being showered by these Panchatattva's. But still, those blasphemers were not getting wet. They were not touched with this love of Godhead. The lowest of all the communities, the impersonalists, the fruitive workers, they were not getting touched. They were so adamant. They were so stubborn that they don't want to accept this love of Godhead. And they started to flee away from one place to another to avoid this rainfall of Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prem. And seeing them fleeing, then, especially these Mayavadis, then Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu thought, oh, I came to inundate or immerse everybody in this love of Godhead. In this inundation of love of Godhead, I came to immerse everyone. But see how these people are running away. They are getting escaped. Oh, what should I do so that I can drown them also? Will Krishna ever think like this? He is very, very transactional. Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tam sataiva bhajami. As you surrender, so I will reciprocate. But here Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is thinking, oh, they are running away. What can I do so that I can catch hold of them? I can give them also Krishna Prem. Somehow, some trick should be devised so that I can, so that they are not able to run away and they are also drowned in this Krishna Prem. And in this way, our Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu was thinking, Eta bali mane kichu kariya vichara. And the only solution that Mahaprabhu got is, Sannyasa ashrama prabhu kaila angikara. This way, while thinking, devising a plan, a trick, so that he can touch the hearts of these Mayavadis, touch the hearts of these karmis, touch the heart of these offenders, these blasphemers, Mahaprabhu devised a plan. And the only plan he came out with is sannyasa ashram, to accept this renounced order of life. Now, this is a very, very sad moment for the devotees, because our dear Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu will renounce everything, will renounce his home, will renounce Srimati Vishnu Priya, his concert, will renounce everything and will roam around in every street, in every village, in every town, in every city, just to distribute this Krishna Prema. Who can be more magnanimous than Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu? So he accepted this sannyas order of life. Tasmat kenapi upayena mana Krishna niveshayat sarva vidhi nishetyor etot eva kinkara. Yes, Lord accepted this thought, this process of accepting this sannyas order. Because in those days, in India, the situation was such that if anybody is in the dress of a sannyasi, everybody would come and bow down to these sannyasis. So Mahaprabhu thought that yes, these are the offenders, these are the Mayavadis, they are impersonalist. They will never get in touch with Krishna Prem because they are blaspheming me. And more they are blaspheming me, the more they are getting away from this Krishna Prem. The more these Panchatatvas will not touch these people because they are blaspheming me. Oh, if I accept this sannyas life, with this renounced order of life, then they will bow down to me. Because in those days, the sannyasis were commanding respect from everybody in India, from the entire Indian public. So he thought now, as soon as they would come and bow down to me, well, I'll get an opportunity to bless them and I'll bless them with Krishna Prem. So he was not thinking that, oh, I'll get some prestige, some honor that people will bow down to me. No, he's saying that this way, even the blasphemers will come and bow down to me. And as soon as they will bow down, I'll give them Krishna Prem. I'll give them the blessing. So therefore he thought, let me accept this renounced order of life. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he remained in this householder life for 24 years. And on the 25th year, he accepted this sannyas life. And after taking sannyas order, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he started approaching to these Mayavadis, to these impersonalists, and he was forcing them so that they can surrender to the lotus feet of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And as soon as they will bow down, Mahaprabhu will forgive them, will excuse them, and will give them Krishna Prem, and will drown them in this ocean of devotional service. In Bhakti Ras, he will drown. So Rupa Goswami actually at that time, he writes this verse, that Acharya should be such that he should somehow or other give Krishna consciousness to everyone. Tasmat kenapi upayena mana Krishna niveshayat sarva vidhi nishetsyut. All the other vidhis and regulations, they become etayor eva kinkara. They become the kinkara, the servants of this one basic rule. And that basic rule is to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And therefore, our Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, in order to deliver all the fallen souls, he devised many methods to liberate them from the clutches of Maya. So this verse, actually, there is the slide is different. The meaning is not the same. I'm sorry, I don't know, somehow it happened. But this is the verse that is there from Srila Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita-sindhu. So Mahaprabhu actually, taking this as his soul and his main thing, he devised this plan to deliver all the fallen souls, and therefore he liberated everyone from these clutches of Maya. All the impersonalists, they were converted into devotees. Even the Malechas and the Yavanas, everybody was converted. But still, our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that there is one sect of people who were still not inundated in this love of Godhead, even after Mahaprabhu taking sannyas. Imagine how arrogant, how impudent, how stubborn that sect of people will be. And those were the followers of Shankaracharya, the impersonalists, the Mayavadis. So when Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu saw that these are the one who are not getting affected by Krishna Prem, he thought, okay, somehow or other, I have to give mercy even to them. And so once he was crossing Varanasi on his way to Vrindavan. At that time, there were many Mayavadi sannyasis who came forward and blasphemed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. See, they were blaspheming Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what these blasphemers says? These blasphemers says that, oh, see this sannyasi? He is a sannyas. He is a sannyasi. He has accepted the sannyas ashram. And the sannyasis should be taking interest in the study of Vedanta. But see this sannyasi, this is altogether a different sannyasi who is not even taking any interest in studying Vedanta, rather is always engaging in chanting and dancing in Sankirtan. So they were criticizing Mahaprabhu, all these Mayavadis. Murkha sannyasi nija dharma nahi jane, bhavo kahaiya fere, bhavo pe rasane. See, this sannyasi is altogether a different sannyasi, and he's a murkha. He's an illiterate. He's foolish. Nija dharma nahi jane, and he doesn't know his real function of being accepting this sannyas order. Bhavuka haya, and he's unnecessary getting all the sentiments, all the emotions, and under that he is wandering in the company of those sentimentalists and unnecessary engaging in dancing and kirtan. So this way, all the sannyasi, all the Mayavadis, they were criticizing Mahaprabhu. And hearing all these blasphemy, Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu didn't react. We conditioned souls react to a certain situation. But Mahaprabhu, he simply smiled. He smiled and he rejected all the accusations, all the allegations that Mayavadis put forward, and he didn't react to them and he didn't talk to them. He neglected the blasphemy of all those Mayavadis. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he proceeded to Mathura, and then after visiting Mathura, he again returned back to Varanasi, and then he thought, now I have to address this situation. Previously, they blasphemed me. I didn't say anything because I was on another mission to go to Vrindavan. So he went to Mathura, and on his way back, he again stayed in Varanasi, and then he thought, now I have to address this situation. And at that time, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he stayed at the house of Chandrasekharacharya. He was a Shudra, and or by birth, like he was from the Shudra or Kayastha family. So, but Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu didn't regard this, and he stayed in the house of Chandrasekharacharya. But because Mahaprabhu has taken sannyas, and as a matter of principle, what he did, he accepted the food that was cooked at the house of Tapan Mishra. So he stayed at the house of Chandrasekharacharya, but the food that he honored came from the house of Tapan Mishra. And at that time, when he was staying in the house of Chandrasekharacharya, he was all by himself. He didn't mix with other sannyasis. Neither he went to their homes to accept any food or any item. And he was simply staying. And at that time, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions that when he was there, at that time, Srila Sanatan Goswami came. He somehow was able to release himself from that prison house of Nawab Hussain Shah. And he came to Varanasi, and there he met Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And for 2 months, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatan Goswami on this matter of devotional service. He taught him this devotional service. And so for 2 months, Sanatan Goswami got the association of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was instructing to Sanatan Goswami, and at that time, Chandrasekhar-acharya and Tapan Mishra, they were becoming very unhappy. Not because Mahaprabhu was instructing Sanatan Goswami, but they became unhappy because the criticism of all the Mayavadi sannyasis was going further and further. Means they were more and more blaspheming and criticizing Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So they became very unhappy. And while Mahaprabhu was instructing Śrī Sanatan Goswami on this matter of devotional service, they approached Mahaprabhu and they said, how long are we going to bear this, tolerate this blasphemy? How long? Why don't we do something? We should give up our lives rather than to hear your blasphemy. Either you do something or we will commit suicide. And in this regard, our Srila Prabhupada also says that a Vaishnava should be Trinadapi Sunitena, should be very, very humble than the blade of grass, and Tarorapi Shaishuna. And he should very, very be tolerant. But when it comes to the blasphemy of one's Guru or Krishna, then asahishnata, one should become intolerant. One should not accept this principle of tolerance at that time. And therefore, all this Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar-acharya was also feeling the same, that either you do something, or because we cannot tolerate your blasphemy, either you do something so that the mouth of these Mayavadis are shut up, and or we will just commit suicide. We will give our life on the spot. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he was blasphemed of being a sannyasi, of dancing and chanting, so they were not able to hear or tolerate this criticism. So this way, this Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar-acharya were talking to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and he didn't do anything. He just smiled, because he knew that he has already devised a plan to address the situation, and that's why he stayed there in the house of Chandrasekhar-acharya. So he just smiled to them, and at that time, by the will of the providence, by the will of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, a Brahmana came there. A Brahmana came to meet the Supreme Lord. And as soon as the Brahmana came, he just fell down at the lotus feet of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and he made a very, very kind proposal. He said that, oh sannyasi, oh Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I have invited all the sannyasis of Varanasi at my home. And because you are also a sannyasi, so I know that you don't accept anybody's invitation and you never like to mix with other sannyasis. But this time I request you to please accept my invitation and be merciful to me. Please accept this invitation, and along with all the sannyasis, I want to invite you also to please come and accept food, honor this prasadam at my home. So Mahaprabhu smiled. He simply smiled and he said, okay, just nodding his head, he said, okay, I accept your proposal. And though Mahaprabhu never mixed with sannyasis, he was all by himself in Varanasi. But this time when the Brahmana came, he accepted his invitation. And next day, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to the house of that Brahmana. As soon as Mahaprabhu went to the house of that Brahmana, he saw all the sannyasis were sitting. And these were all the Mayavadis, the followers of Shankaracharya. Our Mahaprabhu has also taken the sannyas initiation from Shankaracharya sect only, because he took from Keshava Bharati. So as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw these sannyasis, he immediately offered his obeisances. And after offering his obeisances, he went to wash their lotus feet. And after washing that feet, Mahaprabhu sat in that corner only where he was washing the feet of all the sannyasis. So Mahaprabhu was doing this menial service by himself, just so that he can touch the heart of everybody. Because why he accepted the invitation of Brahmana? Not because he was hankering to meet these sannyasis or he was hankering to honor prasadam there, but he was hankering to touch these sannyasis also, so that they can also get immersed in this love of God. That was his mission. So he accepted this very, very menial position. He washed their feet and he sat in that corner only where he washed, that filthy place. He sat there only. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after sitting there, he exhibited his powerful effulgence, because at that time when Mahaprabhu was sitting, all the sannyasis were sitting at some other place and he was opposite side, sitting on the ground where he washed the lotus feet of all the sannyasis. At that time, it was looking that Mahaprabhu was looking like a moon among the stars. Chaitanya, this Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he writes, it was looking as if the moon is shining among the stars, because Mahaprabhu's effulgence was so brilliant, as if millions of suns have come together. So when the sannyasis, they saw Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and they saw that how he is so attractive and how he is so humble, they immediately gave up their place and they stood in respect. They all stood up. And among them, there was the head of those sannyasis, who was Prakashananda Saraswati. He offered his obeisances to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Prakashande name sarve sannyasi pradhana, Prabhu ke kahila kichu kariya samman. The leader of all the Mayavadi sannyasis, who was Prakashananda Saraswati, he stood up and he addressed Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu as follows, with great respect. So what he said, O Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why are you sitting here? Please come here. Why you are sitting in such a filthy, unclean place? What is the cause of your lamentation? We want you to sit beside us. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no. How can I sit with you? You are all the high-class sannyasis. Because in those days, if somebody takes the sannyas from Shankaracharya sect, so they were different categories. So he was saying that you are all bhartis and tirthas. No, you are all tirthas, but I have taken sannyas from Bharati Sampradaya. So I am on the lower order. So therefore, I do not deserve to sit along with you. So let me sit here. Because they were elevated sannyas. They were holding the title of tirtha. But here he is saying, well, I am not a tirtha. I am not other high-class sannyas category. But I am the lower of the kinds. Why? Because I accepted from Bharati Sampradaya. So therefore, I am a lower sannyasi than Prakashananda Saraswati. So how can I sit? I don't have the eligibility to sit along with you. So Prakashananda Saraswati, he thought that how Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is being so humble. So what he did, he personally took the hand of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and with great respect, he brought him in that assembly and he very nicely, he made him sit along with himself. So this way, our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that just by this act, of Prakashananda Saraswati Thakur, what he did, he got a Jnat Sukriti. He got an opportunity to advance in Ajnat Sukriti. And later we will see that how he will also become a Vaishnava sannyasi. So finally, anyway, Prakashananda Saraswati, when he met, he said, "Oh, Krishna Chaitanya, I understand that your name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya and you are disciple of Keshava Bharati, but still you are glorious. You belong to our sampradaya only, Shankara sampradaya only. And why, therefore, even though you are initiated by Keshava Bharati, it doesn't matter. But actually, you belong to Shankara Sampradaya. So, why don't you associate with us? Why is it that you want to avoid us? You are a sannyasi. And why you are engaging in simply dancing and keep doing chanting and engaging in this Sankirtan movement? This is the job of all the fanatic people, those who are sentimental. The sentimentalist, they perform all this. But you are a sannyasi and you are a sannyasi of a Shankara Sampradaya. So your duty is to abandon all these fanatics and engage in Vedanta, in study of Vedanta. So why don't you do this? Why you are simply engaging yourself in this Sankirtan movement? So Mahaprabhu says, Prabhu kahe suna Shripad ihara karana Guru more murkha dekhi karila shasana. He says, well, it's not that I don't want to study this Vedanta, but actually, the reason is that my spiritual master considered me murkha, considered me a fool, and therefore he chastised me. What he said? My spiritual master said, Murkha tumi tomara nahi ka Vedanta adhikara. Krishna mantra jape sada mantra sara. So my spiritual master told me that I don't have that adhikar to study Vedanta. I'm not even qualified. And therefore he said, Krishna mantra japa sada. You just chant Krishna mantra. Mantra sar. And that's the essence of all the mantras. So you should always chant Krishna's name. Krishna mantra haita sabe samsara mochana. Krishna nama haite pave Krishna racharana. And my spiritual master told me that this chanting of Krishna's holy name can give samsara mochana, can free from this material existence. And simply by chanting Krishna's holy name, Krishna nama haite pave Krishna racharana, I will be able to receive or achieve or see the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. So therefore, my spiritual master says that no need to study the Vedanta philosophies because first of all, you are not qualified. Secondly, just by chanting only, you will get Krishna Charana. You will able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. So therefore, you don't study and you just chant Krishna's name. And he also said, Nama Venu Kali Kale Nahi Ara Dharma Sarva Mantra Sara Nama Ei Shastra Narma. He also said that in this age of Kali, there is no religious principle other than the chanting of the holy name. It is the essence of all the Vedic hymns, Ei Shastra Marma. With the essence of all the Vedic philosophy, the purport of all the scriptures is to chant Krishna's holy name, especially in this Kali Kal, especially in this age of Kali. So therefore, he told me, he gave me a mantra. Eta bali eka shloka shikhai lamore, kantha kari ei shloka kari avichare. And after describing this Mahamantra, this potency of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, my spiritual master also taught me another verse, which always I keep it within my throat because he gave me this verse. So I meditate on this verse and always engage myself in chanting the holy name. What is the verse? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nameva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. That for spiritual progress in this age of Kali, there is no alternative, no alternative, no alternative. Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva. Gatiranyata. If we want to achieve or progress in our spiritual life, then the only process is to Hare Rinam, Hare Rinam, Hare Rinam Eva Kevalam. So 3 times these things are repeated. Hare Nam is repeated, Kalo Naste was repeated. So this is not the fall of redundancy, the repetition, but this is to emphasize that there is no alternative to holy name. So this way he said that this is the mantra that my spiritual master gave me. So I received this order from my spiritual master and I am holding on to this mantra in my throat and I am always engaging myself in chanting the holy name. And while chanting the holy name, you know what happened? I simply become mad. I lose myself. And sometimes while chanting, I laugh, I dance, I cry like a madman. Therefore, you always see me on the street, sometimes chanting, sometimes dancing, sometimes laughing, sometimes crying, because this mantra has made me mad like anything. And even I was bewildered that why this is happening to me. So pagal haila ami dharya nahi mane, dhairya nahi mane, eta chinti veduluna guru racharane. And even I was bewildered. I saw myself getting mad after chanting the holy name. So I was also bewildered and I was thinking, what is happening to me? Why I am becoming such a person? And therefore I submitted myself. I raised this concern to my spiritual master. I went straight to my spiritual master and I asked him, Kiva mantra dila gosai, kiva tara bala, japite japite mantra karila pagala. I approached to my spiritual master also in this regard because I was also concerned that what is happening to me. So I approached him and asked him, Oh my Lord, what kind of mantra you have given to me? Kiba mantra dila gosai. And Kiba Tara Bala, what is the strength of this chanting? That as I'm chanting, Japite Japite mantra Karila Pagala, I'm getting mad in chanting this Maha mantra. So what kind of mantra you have given to me? And not only that, हास्य नाचाया मोरा करया क्रंदना एत शुनु guru hasi balila vachana. Sometimes I become so mad that it makes me dance, laugh and cry. So I completely lost control of my own self. And as soon as the Guru heard this, heard my concern, he smiled and he began to speak. And he said, Krishna Nama Mahamantrera Eita Swabhav Yei Jape Tara Krishna Utpajaye Bhav. And he told me, don't worry, my dear child, don't worry. Just by chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, anyone who chants it with purity, he immediately develops all the bhav. Yehi jape tare Krishna upjaye bhav. All the bhavas, all the emotions started getting sprout in the heart of that devotee who start chanting this holy name. So this is my guru who told me. And he said, not only that, not only the bhav, but even all the other purusharthas, that is dharma, artha, kama, moksha, they also looks inferior, like they appear like an insignificant straw in the street. And then that person looks for the Pancham Purushartha, that is the 5th goal. And what is that 5th goal? Panchama Purushartha Premamrata Sindhu Mokshadi Ananda Yara Eka Nahi Eka Bindu. For a devotee who have actually developed that bhav, that sentiments, that emotions, the pleasure derived from dharma, artha, kama, moksha, they appear like a drop in the presence of the sea. They appeared like an insignificant straw in the street. Krishna namera phala prema sarva shastra kaye bhagya sei prema tomai karila uday. And then he told me that, oh, see, you are so fortunate that you have reached to that conclusion of the revealed scriptures, and that dormant love of Godhead is awakened in your heart. You are so fortunate because you have developed these bhavs. And with this bhav, sometimes you cry, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you run here and there, sometimes you chant, you are just behaving like a madman. So actually that means that love of Godhead has sprouted in the heart. The bhav, the emotions have sprouted in your heart. And then he told me about these Ashta Sattvika Vikar that develops in the heart of devotees who chant Krishna's holy name. Shveda Kampa Romanchashru Gadgada Vaivarnaya Unmad Vishad Dhairya Garva Harsha Dainya Eta Bhave Prema Bhaktangirinachaya Krishnera Anandamrita Sagare Bhasaya. Perspiration, trembling, standing on one's end at one's bodily hairs, tears, faltering voice, faded complexion, madness, melancholy, patience, pride, joy, and humility. These are all the symptoms of natural ecstatic love of Godhead, which causes a devotee sometimes to dance and float in an ocean of transcendental bliss while chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So our Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is telling all this to Prakashananda Saraswati Thakur, and he's saying, it is very good. My spiritual master told me that you have actually attained the supreme goal of life. Therefore, he was very pleased to me, and he told me that you keep on chanting, and I was very obliged to my spiritual master. So this was the final instruction that my Shri Guru gave me. Nacho gao bhakta sange kara sankirtana Krishna nama upadeshi tara sarvajana. So he told me, my dear child, you just continue dancing, chanting, and perform this sankirtan in the association of devotees. And by this process only, you will be able to deliver all the fallen souls. So saying this, my spiritual master also told me, he taught me one of the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the essence of all the instructions of Srimad Bhagavatam. And what is that verse? Evam vrata swapriya nama kirtya jatu narago dhruta chitta uchchai hasati yathorodati rauti gayati unmadvan nityati lokabhaya. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to me, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. And sometimes he cries, he laughs, he gets agitated and chants like a madman. Nahi lokabhaya, and he doesn't care for the outsiders. So this way, he taught me this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, and holding on to this verse and holding on to the verse of Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, I just took these instructions of my spiritual master as my heart and soul, and am engaging myself in chanting the holy name. So after hearing Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, all the Mayavadi sannyasis, they were totally, flabbergasted. Their minds got literally changed. And thus Prakashananda Saraswati said, dear Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, actually whatever you have said is true. You are really the one who is being favored by fortune, and therefore you have attained this love of Godhead. Even our Krishnadas, our Rupa Goswami says, Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Bija. So there is no objection about this, that you have really become a great devotee. But one thing is still there, which we want to ask. And that one thing is that why you have avoided the discussion on the Vedanta Sutras. I'll take 10 more minutes and then we'll finish, because I want to finish this chapter. So then he said, oh, one thing that we really want to know, that you should study, you should study Vedanta Sutras. What is the fault in that? Why aren't you studying Śrī Caitanya of this Vedanta Sutras? Then Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and said that, can I say something to you regarding this Vedanta philosophy? Then all the sannyasis, they said, of course, yes, we want to hear. Then he says, actually, any serious student who is well equipped with knowledge and detachment, he realizes the absolute truth. And this aspect of realizing this absolute truth is from Vedanta Sutras. And to know about the Supreme Lord, they say, Mahaprabhu was telling that actually Vedanta Sutras, you are asking me why we are not studying, why I'm not engaging in Vedanta Sutras. What is the essence of studying Vedanta Sutra? The essence of Vedanta Sutra is actually to engage oneself in devotional service. That is the essence of all the Vedanta Sutras. So I'm already engaging in this devotional service. Then why I need to study those sutras again? So these Mayavadi sannyasis, they were thinking that, wow, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said something very deep. This philosophy is really, he has come. So they addressed him Narayan. He said, you are Sakshat Narayan. Now, when the Mayavadis, they meet each other, they address each other as Narayan. Om Namo Narayana, because that's their philosophy. I offer my respect unto you, Narayan. They call each other Narayan. But here they were actually calling Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu as Narayan, that four-handed Narayan. Why? Because they were very much influenced by the words of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and their minds were also very, very satisfied. So they said that, yes, you have said rightly that the essence of the Vedanta Sutra is to engage oneself in the devotional service of the Lord. But still, we want to hear more about you, more about Vedanta Sutras from you. We want to hear more. Please tell us. So Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu said that actually, see, Vedanta Sutras, they were given by whom? They were given by Vyasadeva, who is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's Narayan. And this he wrote this Vedanta Sutras so that he can come to the final conclusion of the Vedanta Sutras, which is to engage, to know, to inquire about the Supreme Absolute Truth, and to engage in the devotional service. So then Mahaprabhu started explaining that Vedanta Sutras, they have 4 chapters. And in those 4 chapters, the first 2 chapters that describe the relationship of a jiva with Ishvara, that is the Sambandha Gyan. The 3rd chapter describes about the Abhidheya Gyan, how one can establish that relationship, what process one should follow to establish that Sambandha, which is the Abhidheya Gyan. And finally, he said the last chapter describes the Prayojana Tattva. And that Prayojana is attaining the Supreme Lord, ultimate goal of life, that is going home back to Godhead. So he says that is what the Vedanta Sutra consists of. The Vedanta Sutra was written by none other than Vyasadeva. So don't think that these Vedanta Sutras have any defects, because they are apaurushya. It was written directly by the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Had it been written by some conditioned souls, then conditioned soul have 4 defects. Brahma, Pramad, Vipralipsa, Karnapatva, Ishvare Vakya Nahi Dosha Aisava. So what are the 4 defects? Brahma, it's not Brahma, it's Brahm. Brahm means the conditioned soul gets illusioned. Pramad, they get into cheating propensity. Vipralipsa, into sensory, into making mistakes and illusions, cheating and sensory inefficiency. But all these do not exist in the Supreme Lord. These are all the defects of the conditioned souls. But this absolute truth was described by the Vyasadeva, who is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, he described this about absolute truth not only in the sutras, but he has also described in Upanishads also. So one should study it in the light of understanding that Krishna is supreme. So then he said that, see, Shankaracharya didn't give any respect. He didn't describe. He described all these terminologies about absolute truth in the Vedic literature, but he gave an indirect meaning to it. So then all these Mayavadis, they were thinking, so you mean to say that Shankaracharya was at fault? He said, no, actually Shankaracharya is not at fault. He just followed the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, he covered the real purport of the Vedas. He didn't reveal the real purport of the Vedas. So somebody can say, wow, Shankaracharya, who is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, why he cheated people in this way? So Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu says that actually this is recorded in Padma Puran that Lord Shiva, he informed his wife Parvati. He said that this entire world is covered with Buddhism, and that Buddhism philosophy is that they rejected the Vedas altogether. So therefore he said, oh dear Parvati, in Kali Yuga, I will assume the form of a Brahmana and teach this Mayavad philosophy because I have been ordered to do so by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So seeing my Vedanta in the name of Mayavadi philosophy, I will mislead the people. But I will bring the people onto the level to understand the Vedas. They have already rejected the Vedas. So they have become zeros. Now I cannot teach them directly writing essays. I again have to teach them ABC. They cannot write essays because they have forgotten everything. They have been atheistic under this Buddhist philosophy. And I have to teach them. So I cannot teach them directly writing essays. I have to start from the alphabets. And therefore, I have to teach them this Vedanta, this Mayavad philosophy so that they can come under the understanding of first the Vedas. And in that Vedas first, let them focus on Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. I cannot give everything. I cannot give the essence of all the Vedas. And this way, though they will be misled, but at least they will start appreciating the Vedas. So he said that I will propound this philosophy, but I will be not at fault. Why? Because I'll be just a servant carrying out the orders of my superior, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this way, there is a lot more, but I'll skip all this. So he says this way, all these, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he told that how the Supreme Lord, means our Shankaracharya, who was carrying the orders of the Supreme Lord, he came and he gave this philosophy. So when Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu touched upon, so there is a great detail about, but he touched upon every sutra among all those assembled Mayavadis. And then he says that I can give you the direct meaning, but Shankaracharya, he just gave the covered meaning. And in this way, when Mahaprabhu was explaining, so Mahaprabhu told that you also, please, just do not follow whatever he has said. You should know the essence of everything. Because if you will not follow the thing, okay, I think so. I skipped all that. Yeah. So he said that you should also follow the complete thing. Complete thing means that you should follow you should not accept just the half philosophy. You should know everything about this philosophy. Sorry, I got some call in it. So then he says that, and don't accept that half-hand philosophy, not accepting the real truth. So you should also take up the real truth and engage in devotional service. And therefore, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Bhagavan prapti hetu ye kari upay, Shravanadi bhakti Krishna prapti rasahai. That you should all engage in devotional service. That is the essence of the Vedanta Sutras. What will you do in studying all those Vedanta Sutras when it is the covered meaning which is given by Shankaracharya? So you should also approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead not by those Vedanta Sutras, but Shravanadi Bhakti Krishna, Prapti Rasahai, by engaging in devotional service starting with hearing. Krishnera charana hai yadi anurag, Krishna vinu anyatra trahi nahi rahe rag. If somebody develops that attachment to Krishna's lotus feet, then he loses all other attachments. He doesn't have anurag in all other things. And therefore, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, just focus on Panchama Purusharth. Leave all those four Purusharthas that are there in those Vedanta philosophies. Panchama Purushartha say Prema Mahadan, Krishnera Madhurya Rasa Kariya Swadan, Prema Haite Krishna Haya Nija Bhakti Vas, Prema Haite Pai Krishnera Seva Sukharas. So you should engage in the fifth goal of human life. The Supreme Lord, who is greater than the greatest, he himself becomes submissive to even a very insignificant devotee because that devotee is engaged in devotional service. It is the beautiful and exalted nature of devotional service that an infinite Lord, he becomes submissive to an infinitesimal living entity. In reciprocational devotional activities with the Lord, the devotee actually enjoys the transcendental mellow of devotional service. So he said, please don't think of anything, just engage in devotional service, and this way you all will be happy. When all the Mayavadis heard this explanation by Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, they were all so happy. And they all, along with Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, following his instruction, they all chanted Krishna, Krishna. And thus Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he excused all their offenses, and very mercifully he blessed them with Krishna Nam. After all this, sannyasis, Mahaprabhu, they took Mahaprabhu in the middle and they all chanted Krishna's holy name. Thus, our Chandrasekhar-acharya, our Tapan Mishra, our Sanatan Goswami, they all were very happy. And Mahaprabhu made all of them dance. He took their hands and he made them chant and dance on and chanting the name of Hari Hari. So this way our Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Ei Pancha Tattva Rupe Shri Krishna Chaitanya Krishna Nama Prema Diya Vishwadhaila Dhanya. So Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, along with associates of Pancha Tattva, distributed the holy name, invoked love of Godhead, and thus the entire universe was very thankful to them. Śrī Caitanya Nityananda Advaita Tina Jana Shrivas Gadadhara Adi Yata Bhakta Gana. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that this way you should all chant these names of Panchatattva. And while chanting the Panchatattva name, you should make sure that you have all these 5 names in it. That is Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita, Shrivas, and Gadadhar. And we have this Panchatattva. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhar, Shrivas, Adi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So he says, when you chant this Panchatattva mantra, you should invoke the presence of all these wonderful personalities. Thus, this way, Mahaprabhu, he invoked the love of Godhead throughout the universe. He sent Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami to Vrindavan to go and preach. He sent Nityananda Prabhu to Bengal, and he himself also didn't stop. After that, Mahaprabhu personally went to South India trip to distribute this love of Godhead. That's the end of the chapter. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ends this chapter by the most celebrated verse, Shri Rupa Raghunatha Padajara Ash Caitanya-caritāmṛta Kahe Krishnadas. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Shri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, following in their footsteps. So this way, Mahaprabhu, he gave the mercy even to those Mayavadis who were running away and not ready to drench in the rain of Krishna praying. So we'll stop here. Thank you all so much. I know we took a poll on that group. I only actually told Sunil Prabhu to do so. But trust me, as Preeti Vilasni Mataji has already mentioned, it's not possible to do verse by verse. At the most, some long chapters or some important chapters, instead of doing 1 hour, we will take 1.5 hours. But this is just a summary study. No, the essence will be discussed, but not in great detail, verse by verse. We cannot go. And this is just to enthuse you, to inspire you, so that on your own entire week you all can study Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta verse by verse, and then you'll relish more. So in this forum, we will be just doing the summary study. I know many of you have expressed their desire to do verse by verse, but practically it's not possible. But take it as a catalyst. Take these sessions as a catalyst that inspires you and enthuses you, so that in the entire week, you can make self-study of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because this is the book which has to be studied daily, on a daily basis. So make it a habit to study all the verses. Now we have completed the 7th chapter, and now you have the entire week. You can go through that 7 chapters, the 7th chapter, all the verses of 7th chapter, and I promise you that you'll relish more and more. So with that note, we can stop here. Thank you all so much. Yes, Tulsi Gopi Mataji, you have something to say?
Mataji, I wanted to ask that thank you so much for the wonderful class. We skipped the whole Adi Lila after Manglacharan and we went to Madhya Lila, right? Everything that we
No. We are still in Adi Lila only. See, I told you that in Adi Lila, the very first chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he quoted 14 Manglacharan verses.
Yes.
And those Manglacharan verses, he was expanding in all the chapters of Adi Lila up till 7th chapter. And this was the last chapter. This is the chapter number 7 of Adi Lila only.
All this Prakashanand Saraswati, the details will come later, na? In Madhya
Details will come later. Details will come later.
Okay.
But he touched upon this pastime.
Okay. I thought you were summarizing, so
No,
fast forward or something.
No. I am sticking to the chapter only. I'm not going beyond that. I'm just following what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said. So don't worry.
Mataji, I was just feeling so sad that we are going so fast. Okay, thank you.
I'm not going that fast. But yeah, so actually Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in the start only I told you that he was above 92. And he was thinking, well, I don't know when I will leave this body and will be able to complete this entire scripture or not. So in Adi Lila only, he first gave the gist of the entire Madhya Lila. He gave the summary study, so that even if he is not there to complete the book, at least people will get some hint. But later, when he was able to write, he was able to compose this, he started this Madhya Lila in great detail. But the synopsis of everything will be given in Adi Lila only.
Okay, so we will go through every chapter and summarize.
Yeah, we'll go through every chapter. See, there are 64 chapters in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, Antya Lila together. And we are planning about 80 to 90 sessions, because some chapters may take two days. And this class is 1 week, once per week.
Yeah.
So 52 weeks we have in a year. So around 80 to 90 sessions, around 1.5 years, we'll try to finish this Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Okay, great. So we are not skipping any chapter. Thank you.
No, we'll not skip. Any chapter we'll not skip. But we'll not go verse by verse.
Okay. And other quick question I had was that in this last verse that we read, so when it says that the Lord spread the love of God throughout the universe, does it mean only Earth, or actually people from higher planets came disguised to hear his katha and they were spreading it in other planets, the stories? What does this mean here throughout the universe?
It means only till this entire world. World, you can say, not the higher planets. Of course, see, the demigods, Brahma, all the rishis in Tapaloka, Janaloka, they knew who is Krishna, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they were also relishing that how Mahaprabhu was distributing this love of Godhead to everybody. So that relishment was there. They were happy seeing Mahaprabhu distributing. But actually only the human beings, and of course other living entities were also immersed in this Krishna Prem.
Okay, on the earth in India, generally that only we should understand, right?
Yeah, that, yes, naturally. Yes.
And one last question, that when the Pancha Tattva you explained that the two Radha Krishna, the one becomes two, two becomes one, and one becomes five. But so that one who becomes five, four out of those we understand as direct expansions and all of avatar of Krishna. But Srivas Thakur is Narad Muni's incarnation. How is he one of Krishna?
He's
Because
a devotee of Krishna, and devotees are non-different from Krishna. Simultaneously oneness. Not oneness as what Mayavadis, but oneness in the thought process of Krishna.
okay, understood. So he's still the Jiva Tattva devotee,
Yeah,
right?
he's Jiva Tattva, yes.
Okay.
But Krishna says, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. They are my part and parcel.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Mataji. Mataji, I just wanted to understand the criteria, because to revise it would be easy. How you chose these specific texts? Is it based on the Mangalacharan concept, or how do you do this?
Yeah.
How do I
just,
follow this? Can you help me to follow this up?
Yeah, just the important ones. I'm taking those that are really, you can memorize these verses. So the important ones and that are in regard to the context of the verse, I'm taking only those verses.
Yeah.
Not all.
Because we are so absorbed in hearing to you, Mataji. We don't even remember what verses that you took. Is there any way that we can have in the one we have now completed one, the important verses that you said, some numbers can be given to us so we can?
Yeah, this PPT will be shared. I can share it on a regular basis.
If that is possible, okay, Mataji. Because the numbers, even if you give for memorizing or even following or revising, otherwise it's so heavy, Mataji. It is not like we can just hear once and leave it. We have to revise it, then only we will get into it.
So actually, see, every verse of Caitanya-caritāmṛta is important. It's very, very relishable. So here I'm just giving a summary study. When you study in great detail, then you yourself will come across those verses and you will feel that, wow, this verse is so important. So it's not particularly that, okay, this number and this, like in Bhagavad Gita, we have some important 108 shlokas. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we have some important verses. But in Caitanya-caritāmṛta, every verse is important. So it's up to us that which verse we feel is more relishable and we can memorize it for our own relishment. But actually, whether we have some particular numbers. But what I'm taking is the important ones, which I feel is in the context with our discussion.
Okay, Mataji. Okay. So because it comes with nice titles, but by the time hearing and then making note of it was not possible, Mataji. So I just thought I'll ask you. Particularly the 14 Mangalacharans.
I'll share the PPT.
Okay, ma'am. 14 Mangalacharans, and that means it looks like 2 Mangalacharans per chapter. It looks like, but it was not like that. You told they're the main.
No, it was not like that. Like for Nityananda Prabhu, we did 5 Mangalacharan together. For Advaitacharya, 2 Mangalacharan verses were there. So total 14, and today we covered all the 14 Mangalacharan.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you very much. Stand up for us.
Yes, last question, Sunil Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. No, thank you so much. That's so beautiful. Mataji, just a question. So how can we make this reading daily relishable? Because I've seen, Mataji, like Chaitanya Bhagavad sessions are going on. When I read those verses and when I hear class, it's completely different, Mataji. It's not the same.
Yeah, how can it be the same? Because Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami himself says that these two books complement each other.
Means Chaitanya Bhagavad, when I'm reading the verses and when I'm hearing the classes, it's completely different, Mataji. Means in the class which experience which I have and when I read alone these verses, that's not the same. That's point. So how do we make relishable reading?
That's not the same. I don't know, Prabhu. I cannot say anything regarding this because I feel is that when you know the synopsis and you get inspired to study more, then when you study on the solitary basis on your own and you start making notes, then it becomes more relishable. Of course, hearing from different people, their realizations, because every verse, two different people will give their own two different realizations. But when we study ourselves, self-study, swadhyaya jab hota hai, then it is more relishable because we have heard few devotees their realizations and we know the synopsis. And now when we study in detail, it actually inspires more, it actually relishes more. So why you are not able to relish, maybe you still want to hear. So keep hearing, and then when you read it, you'll relish. So not only these, but other devotees, many devotees have given lectures on Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Chaitanya Bhagavat. Keep hearing the realization of different devotees, but this self-study is very important. And when you study, you'll relish it.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji.
Mataji, I had a suggestion for Sunil Prabhu. I don't know if it will help him. What will help Prabhuji? If you can just read before the class, if you just go through the chapter before the class and hear the class, then your reading will also become very relishable. Your hearing will also become very relishable. It will be double effect. So just try it a couple of times, Prabhu. You'll be happy.
Yes, Mataji, I will try. Thank you so much.
So next Monday, we'll cover the 8th chapter in advance. You all can read the 8th chapter verse by verse, and then we will just do the summary study. Yes, Ashutosh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for the great class and please accept my respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. So Mataji, a question related to Mayavad. So we understood that it was in Varanasi where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met these groups of sannyasis who are Mayavadis. During the same time, how was the environment in Mathura and Vrindavan? Was it still influenced by bhakti because we had other Madhvacharya was also there? Yeah.
It wasn't. Nothing was there in Vrindavan because the effect of Aurangzeb, he did so much and therefore there was no devotion. And that is the reason why Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu first sent Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami to excavate those holy places, to establish temple, to create that devotional mood in the heart of the people. So he sent Rupa and Sanatana first, and then finally all the other 4 Goswamis, our Gopal Bhatta Goswami, our Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and Jiva Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami, they all followed and they all stayed in Vrindavan on the instructions of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu to preach this devotional cult in the heart of those people. That was the situation. So in Vrindavan, nothing was there actually. All the holy places were lost and they were excavated by all these 6 Goswamis. Therefore, today what we see Vrindavan, we should be very, very grateful to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Those who stay in Vrindavan and doesn't have any respect for Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, actually they are not staying in Vrindavan. Because this Vrindavan, what we see in Kalikal, in Kali Yuga, was actually established by Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees. So yes, we should have high regards, towards all these 6 Goswamis and to Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. It's because of them we are able to relish Vrindavan Dham.
Thank you, Mataji. And now I can correlate the universe verbiage there because Vrindavan is universe in itself. So
Very true. Very, very sweet realization. Yes.
thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, dear devotees, on that note, we can end our call here. Sorry for taking long. And as I said, few chapters we will take for 1.5 hours. If there are some detailed verses to be covered, then otherwise the class will be for 1 hour. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री चैतन्य चरितामृता की जय। श्री कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय। ऑल द असेंबल्ड वैष्णवस की जय।
कृतिका माता जी की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
जय
जय
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, प्रणाम।
जय
so much, Mataji.